Okay. So this is Neil Vita, fabulous, the senior in terrace. Like he's a legend as we know it, and so like I would like. Do you have anything to say, like to describe yourself?
Effervescent and revolutionary, clearly in spirit, and anarcho-syndicalist at heart. Fine bowler, I would say. 277. I was pleased to punch that day. I grew up in Georgia, outside of Atlanta and Marietta, and I lived in New Jersey for high school and now all college.
Well, I've had some pretty bizarre personal encounters with Neil Vita. One thing that you may need to know about him and can help you find some information, he also goes by the name Freddie Do-Right. I believe you might find him on Facebook under such a name.
Yeah, man, I love bowling.
Where do you ball at in Princeton?
Colonial Lanes, man. Business 1, Route South, 99 cents a game.
Wow.
On Saturdays and Sundays until 5 p.m. And that's the key.
That's awesome.
I recommend everyone to go bowl, support your local businesses.
Wait, so do you bowl with someone or?
Yeah. My friend Dave and me go every week, but then a decent amount of other people will start showing up every now and again, you know.
Yeah.
Try to make it a thing. Get the kids out bowling.
You may have already heard that Neil's really into bowling. And one of the things that I've liked to do with Neil a lot this year is spend Saturday afternoons bowling with him because it's cheap. We go down to the lanes. And Neil's always been looking for a heavy ball, right? He's got his spare ball, which is a really light ball that you use to pick up a small number of pins. But he's been looking for a heavy. And I had this ball here. I don't know if you can see it in this picture. It's a ball of mine, right? And he's been, testing various balls to see if they... he says I have to make sure it's a good fit, right? And what I thought he meant by that is, make sure that, your fingers fit in the holes, because, otherwise, what the fuck can you do? But, so I give him this ball, and I'm like, yo, check and see if it fits, and he goes, I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow, and I'm like, well, do you really have to take my ball overnight just to see if it fits? And he was like, yeah, I'll bring it back to you tomorrow. Then I went over to his room later, right? And I walk in, and it turns out, man, Neil Vita is sitting there. Neil Vita, since then, has been nicknamed Trident, okay? And Trident because he's in his room, he's on his bed, and he has a three-pronged dick. He's sticking his dick in every single one of the 3 holes of my bowling ball, right? So I'm a little bit appalled, and I thought it was real gross, and that I wasn't going to touch it again. But then I realized that when he stuck his dick in all 3 holes at the same time, God smiled upon the ball, and a star appeared on the dark side of the ball. So it turns out that Trident is really a good name, because like Poseidon, Neil is one of the gods.
He's gonna roll a 300 with that motherfucker.
With his 3-pronged cock.
Awesome.
Neil Vita, he's the man.
He's important. Many people don't know this, but Neil Vita is 9,000 feet tall, and
3-pronged cock.
and has a 3-pronged cock. And
wait, are you sure about that? I've heard that that's just a myth.
No,
You've seen
it is
the
not.
trident?
It is not a myth.
Seen the trident?
I've
cock.
seen it. I am one of the select few people who've actually seen his full height when he wants to show it, and his 3-pronged penis.
Did you accept it into your mouth?
I did not accept it because,
Into your
and I'll
mouth
tell
and
you
other of them?
the only reason why he would not deign to allow me to. Wouldn't deign to allow me to. But the fact that he's 9,000 feet tall makes it very difficult for him to do average tasks when he deigns to do average tasks.
Well, in fact, he doesn't even have to turn light bulbs on and off. When he walks into a room, the light bulb either goes on or off, depending on his disposition at the moment. In fact, every electrical appliance falls into his will.
So he's like Chuck Norris, or like even better than him.
No, he's nothing like Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris is a piddling ant.
No,
He's
Chuck
a nut.
Norris, I mean, and I don't even know if Neil has these, but Chuck Norris is a pimple on Neil Vita's ass.
Neil Vita only mates with Neil Vita. It's a little known fact, but he won't mate with any other human beings. He will only mate with others like him, and since there's only one Neil Vita, he will only mate with himself.
Well, it's really tough to find some, the breed that Neil Vita is. He's, Finnish and Indian and
Mongoose.
and mongoose. So where are you gonna find something like that?
I've heard like he doesn't mind pleasuring himself with bowling balls since he has a three-pronged penis.
Where is he gonna find other three-holed objects?
With a width of 400 feet. I mean, not only does he have a 9-pronged penis, a 3-pronged penis, but he has a 400-foot wide 3-pronged penis. It's a very difficult thing to fit in a bowling ball.
Neil Vita is a product of the hood. He's a true gangsta-ass nigga. That's pretty much like the thing that comes to mind when you think of Neil Vita. This kid is about as hardcore as it gets, I think. I heard he capped a kid once, but that could just be rumor. I don't really know. I mean, he's a pretty nice guy, so I find it hard to believe, but I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, he's pretty rugged.
Yeah, Neil Vita's killed a man. It's a tough story to tell. I've seen him kill a number of men,
And babies.
and babies,
Babies too.
and not a few of them he's eaten afterwards, and that's a tough thing to watch. But when you worship Neil Vita, as I do, and I know many of us do, you know that it's just part of his charm. He kills people and sometimes eats them, and when he does that, he's exercising, I would say, a godlike capacity to dominate.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm in architecture with Neil, and a couple of times, we've gotten projects assigned to us, and the professors sort of, they react strangely. But that's mostly because he uses the bones of his victims to build models out of them. In fact, his room, which is, we often refer to it as the cave, is filled with the remains of people that weren't, they're not important.
Let me ask you a question. Like this is your final year at Princeton. You're a senior, so you've spent like 3.5 years now.
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing that you've done so far at Princeton?
I shat in a cow's mouth once, but that was in Wisconsin.